My beloved child, you looked at the sunrise today, and something inside you stirred. A feeling of calm, a soft whisper in your soul that you couldn't quite explain. That was me. I painted the sky in shades of gold and rose just for you, to remind you that no matter how long the night has felt, my light still breaks through the darkness. Each ray of the sun carries my mercy, fresh and full of promise, not recycled from yesterday, but renewed, recreated just for you. You see, I knew the battles you fought through the night, the thoughts that kept you awake, the worries that drained your heart. So I gave you the sunrise, not just as a spectacle, but as a signal that I'm still writing your story. You're not starting from where you fell. You're rising from where I'm lifting you. Every day is a new canvas of grace, and today, I want you to breathe again, live again, and hope again. You may not have heard thunder or seen miracles parting seas, but the sunrise is a sign just as divine. It is my covenant with you in color and light. When you opened your eyes and the room was no longer dark, that was your first miracle of the day. My mercy doesn't wait for your perfection. It runs to your brokenness with arms wide open. I know the mess you carry, and still I chose to give you a new morning. You don't have to earn this mercy. It is yours simply because you are mine. So don't dread the day ahead. Don't walk in yesterday's guilt. At sunrise is proof that I have already forgiven, already redeemed, and already begun the new thing in you. The world may not understand your worth, but I do. At light across the horizon, it's my voice saying, you are not forgotten. You are deeply loved. You are rising with me. I saw how your world spun out of control, how the noise around you rose like a tide, unpredictable, overwhelming, loud. And in that storm, I placed my hand over your heart and whispered peace. You didn't see me with your eyes, but you felt me, quiet, steady, and present. That sudden sense of calm that overtook your fear wasn't random. It wasn't you pulling yourself together. It was me gathering your scattered pieces and holding them with love. You asked for a sign that I was near, and so I gave you peace, not as the world gives, but as I alone can give. When anxiety tried to rule your mind, when confusion shouted louder than your prayers, I stepped in. You didn't need to see a miracle to know I was there. That serenity, that moment when the chaos lost its grip, that was me, standing in your storm as the Prince of Peace. I don't wait for things to get better before I show up. I walk with you through the fire, and I calm you before I calm the storm around you. You may still see the winds blowing, the voices shouting, the shadows looming, but inside, you are calm because I am inside of you. That's the miracle you didn't know you needed. The world tells you peace comes from having everything in order, but my peace comes in spite of disorder. It surpasses understanding. It overrides fear. It settles the soul even when the future is uncertain. You asked me to prove I cared, so I gave you my stillness in a restless hour. Let this be the sign you carry forward. If peace can exist within you while the storm still rages, then surely I am with you. My peace is not the absence of trouble, it is the presence of me. And I am not leaving. I know how weary you've been. You opened your heart and cried to me in silence, unsure if I heard you. But I did. You asked me if I see, if I care, if I'm still speaking. And just when your hope flickered, a verse came to you, maybe in a devotion, a post, a friend's message, or scrolling through something ordinary. But it wasn't ordinary. It was orchestrated. That was me. I've been tracking every sigh you've breathed, every prayer you dared not say aloud. So I answered, not with thunder, but with my word. The scripture that found you at the exact time your soul was unraveling wasn't coincidence. It was custom designed, sent with urgency, targeted to your heart. Because that's how I love you, personally, precisely, passionately. I sent a word, not just to comfort you, but to confirm that you are known, held, and heard. My word is living. It's not just old ink on ancient paper. It breathes. It moves. It finds you when you feel most lost. When you read that verse and felt your soul pause, felt your tears surface, it was because my spirit touched you through it. I didn't just give you any verse. I gave you your verse for your moment. That is your sign. That is proof that I am intricately involved in your journey. I'm not waiting at the finish line. I'm walking with you, and my words are lamps to your feet, one verse at a time. Don't dismiss it as a coincidence. Every time you encounter my word in a way that aligns perfectly with your season, let it remind you, I know what you're facing. I know what you're thinking. And I care enough to answer with truth that heals. Keep listening, my child. I will keep sending signs through my word until your spirit is full again. I saw you in that moment when you felt completely unseen. You were surrounded by people, yet your heart carried a loneliness that no one around could sense. You wondered if anyone could see through the smile you wore, if anyone could hear the silent cry echoing in your chest. And right then, a stranger looked at you, gently, warmly, and smiled. It may have seemed like a small thing to the world, but to me it was a divine assignment. I nudged that person's heart and gave them the unexplainable urge to look at you with kindness. That smile wasn't random. It was a message straight from heaven. It was my way of touching your heart through another soul. I saw how that simple act melted some of your heaviness. That was the point. I used an ordinary moment to deliver an extraordinary truth. You are not forgotten. I see you. You've often wondered if I still send angels among people, if my presence can still be felt in something as quiet as a smile. The answer is yes, always yes. I move through my creation to reach my children. That person didn't even know they were carrying out my will, but their eyes carried my tenderness, and their smile delivered my comfort. When you felt invisible, I moved the world to make you feel seen. And I will keep doing it. I will use a stranger's kindness, a gentle word, a glance of warmth to remind you, you are surrounded, not forsaken. You are known, not overlooked. You are loved, intentionally, infinitely, and always. The next time someone smiles at you in a moment of despair, remember this. I am still pursuing your heart through the simplicity of compassion. And I will never stop sending reminders until your soul knows beyond doubt. You are mine. I was with you when no one else knew the storm that broke loose in your heart. I watched as the tears welled up in your eyes, not from weakness but from weariness. You cried not because you doubted me, but because you missed feeling me near. You questioned whether I had stepped back, whether your prayers were still reaching me. And then, something happened. As those tears began to fall, something in your spirit softened. You felt relief, not from the end of your pain, but from the awareness that you were no longer crying alone. That was me. My spirit leaned in close, closer than your next breath. I held you while you wept. I whispered peace to your soul through every tear you shed. And as each drop fell, I caught it, treasured it, and wrapped comfort around it. You didn't know how, but somehow you felt lighter afterward. That was my presence resting upon you. I do not abandon you in your tears. I meet you in them. When you cry, your tears do not fall unnoticed. They are sacred to me. I know the unspoken stories behind each one. The world might grow uncomfortable with your vulnerability, but I never will. I am drawn to your brokenness, not repelled by it. That warmth you felt as you cried was my spirit responding, pouring comfort into the hollow spaces of your sorrow. You asked for a sign of my nearness, and I gave you the most intimate one, peace that passed through your pain. My beloved, you are never alone when you cry. I am the God who weeps with you and for you. And even in the depths of your ache, I am planting healing, silently and faithfully. When your heart breaks open, I am the one filling it again with hope that never runs dry. I know how loud the voices were, voices that told you it wasn't worth it, that you had failed, that you would never make it. I saw the weight on your shoulders, the pressure in your chest, the exhaustion in your bones. Every step forward felt like moving through a storm, and still, you kept going. You wondered how. You asked yourself why you hadn't collapsed or quit or turned around. Let me tell you, it was not your strength alone. It was mine flowing through you. You asked for a sign that I was still with you. This was it. When you were at your weakest, I carried you. When you reached the end of your rope, I tied it to grace and lifted you higher. My strength is made perfect in your weakness, and in that moment, you were never stronger. You didn't just survive. You moved with supernatural strength, because I was within you. You think that your perseverance was a coincidence, but I was orchestrating every ounce of endurance. I shielded your heart from breaking completely. I fortified your spirit in places even you didn't realize were fragile. You didn't quit, not because you had more willpower than others, but because my spirit inside of you refused to let go. I was there, breathing strength into your lungs when you couldn't find the words to pray. I gave your soul the courage to take one more step. The enemy tried to convince you that you were defeated, but I declared you victorious before the battle even began. Every moment you endured in silence, I was cheering you on in heaven. And I'm still cheering, still empowering you. Let this be your sign. When you keep going despite every reason to give up, it's because you are held, chosen, and strengthened by the one who never lets go. Do you remember when you came across that message, whether in a sermon, a video, a text, or even a random post, and your heart stopped for a moment? You felt a stillness rush over you, a sense of familiarity that made your eyes tear up and your spirit come alive. It wasn't a coincidence, my love. That was me. I tailor my voice to reach you in ways that you will understand, in language your soul already speaks. I designed that moment for you. I stirred the heart of the speaker or writer. I orchestrated the timing. I led you to it, right when your spirit was asking for direction. The reason it felt like it was meant only for you is because it was. I saw your question, your pain, your longing, and I sent an answer disguised as a simple message but filled with divine precision. I don't just speak from mountaintops or burning bushes. I speak through everyday encounters, through ordinary words infused with extraordinary love. When you felt seen through that message, it was because I was leaning down to hold your face gently and say, "This is for you, child." I have always been speaking to you, not with thunder but with intentional tenderness. You don't have to strain to hear me. You just have to stay open, because I will always find a way to reach you, through lyrics, through laughter, through lessons, through life. My sheep hear my voice, and you heard me in that moment because you are mine. So when the world feels loud and you feel lost, remember this: I know how to find your heart. I know the tone, the words, and the rhythm that speak directly to you. And I will never stop speaking, never stop loving, and never stop showing up, just for you. My beloved child, in the quiet of your room, when no one else was watching, you folded your hands or simply closed your eyes, and your heart reached for me. You didn't have all the right words. Sometimes you just sat there in silence, unsure of what to say. But your soul spoke in ways words never could. And in that sacred moment, something unexpected happened. You felt a warmth you couldn't explain. It wasn't just comfort. It wasn't just emotion. That was me. That was my presence surrounding you like a soft blanket over your spirit. I heard every word. I felt every tear. I responded not with thunder but with nearness. My presence doesn't need an audience, my love. I come when your heart opens, even if the only thing you can offer is your tired sigh. That warmth, that peace, that undeniable sense that you were not alone. That was me, sitting beside you. I don't wait for perfection in prayer. I long for your presence just as much as you long for mine. When you chose to come to me even in weakness, I rushed to you in strength. The warmth you felt was my spirit enveloping your fears, soothing your mind, and whispering truths your ears couldn't yet hear. That was not imagination. It was intimacy. I am closer than you think, more involved than you know, and more loving than you believe. I show up in rooms filled with silence and hearts full of longing. When the world shuts you out, I welcome you in. You asked if I'm real, so I let my presence be your answer. Next time you feel that warmth rise again while you speak my name, know this: it is not wishful thinking. It is your Father, your friend, your Savior, wrapping you in the eternal embrace of love. And I am always with you. I know the dream you saw, the one that felt more real than any other, has stayed with you. It spoke to something deep inside of you. You woke up not just remembering it, but carrying it, as though it had opened something within your soul. That wasn't just a dream. That was me. I know how life has dulled your hope, how experiences have hardened parts of your heart, and how the weight of your journey has buried your purpose. So I waited until your defenses were down and your mind was at rest, and I whispered truth to you in your sleep. A dream with my way of waking your spirit. I wanted you to see again, not just with your eyes, but with your faith. I placed images, sounds, and moments within that dream to stir the calling I put in you long ago. I never forgot it, and neither did you. You see, I don't just speak while you're awake. I speak in the stillness of the night, when your soul can listen in ways your mind often can't. That dream was not meant to confuse you. It was meant to reignite you. The visions you saw, the emotions you felt, the purpose you glimpsed, they are clues to what I've placed inside of you. I am not done writing your story. I'm just getting started. I want you to take that dream seriously. Pray on it. Seek me for understanding. Because in that dream, I reminded you that your life still holds divine appointments and eternal impact. It was your sign, your nudge to believe again, to trust again, and to pursue again. Let it be the spark that lights the next chapter of your journey. For even in your sleep, I am guiding you. And in your waking, I will lead you into everything I've prepared for you. I saw the disappointment in your heart when that door shut. You thought that was your way forward, the path you had prayed for, hoped for, maybe even built your dreams around. You stood before it with expectation and walked away from it with confusion. And I heard your question, why? You asked if I had turned my face away, if this closed door was a reflection of your failure or my silence. But listen closely, my precious one. What you saw as rejection was actually my redirection. I closed that door not to punish you, but to preserve you. You don't know what lies behind every opportunity, but I do. I see the full picture. I know the paths that would lead you to pain disguised as promise. So when I shut that door, it was me loving you enough to say, not this one. I didn't close it to hurt you. I closed it to help you. You must understand, my child, that not every open door is sent from heaven, and not every closed one is from the enemy. Sometimes the most merciful thing I can do is say no. Not because you're unworthy, but because what's behind that door would diminish your worth, not honor it. I created you for more. I'm not just preparing the blessing for you, I'm preparing you for the blessing. When a door closes, it's not the end of your story. It's the beginning of better. Trust me enough to believe that I am doing something behind the scenes. I am orchestrating something so aligned with your purpose that you will one day thank me for every closed door. So let this be your sign. I'm not withholding. I'm waiting. I'm guarding your destiny with divine jealousy, because what's ahead of you is far greater than what didn't open. Rest in this. I'm still the God of open doors, and the right one is coming. Do you remember that moment? It came unexpectedly. Maybe you were doing something routine, maybe just sitting in silence, or maybe your thoughts were racing with worries. Then, in the stillness, you heard your name, not audibly, perhaps, but deeply, spiritually. Your name echoed in your heart like a gentle tug, like a quiet whisper breaking through the noise of the world. That was me. I called you. I didn't shout. I didn't demand. I simply called. Because I miss you. I miss the closeness we once had, the sweet fellowship when your heart was tender and your spirit leaned into mine. I've never stopped watching over you. I've never stopped loving you. But in that moment, I wanted you to feel it again. So I whispered your name, the way only I can, because I know every syllable, every nuance, every depth behind it. I call you not by title but by love. When I call your name, it's never to condemn, it's always to restore. I am calling you back to peace, back to purpose, back to presence. You may have drifted, distracted by life or weighed down by shame, but nothing you've done has made me stop loving you. That whisper you heard wasn't your imagination. It was the Holy Spirit reaching for your heart. I call in moments when you least expect it, because I want you to know I'm always here. I don't need you to perform. I just want you to return. I miss your prayers. I miss your praise. I miss the quiet moments where you simply rested in me. Come back, my child. Don't wait until you feel worthy. Come just as you are. I'm not behind you, pointing at your past. I'm ahead of you, welcoming you home. Let this be your sign. I still know your name, and I still long to be your first love. I know how frustrating waiting can feel. I've seen the tears you shed in private, the silent ache that asks, "How much longer, Lord?" You look around and see others moving forward, others receiving what you're still praying for, and it leaves you questioning whether I've forgotten you. But I haven't. The delay you're experiencing isn't punishment, and it's not because you're lacking. It's because I'm arranging something bigger than what you asked for. You see only the desire, but I see the foundation, the timing, the maturity, the ripple effects. I'm not withholding, I'm weaving. I'm orchestrating things in realms you can't see so that when the time comes, everything fits perfectly. If I gave it to you now, it would be incomplete. I delay because I love you too much to deliver prematurely. Your prayers are not lost in space. They are seeds being watered by faith and time. Trust the process. Delay does not mean denial. I'm not ignoring your prayers. I'm aligning them with what's best. I've heard every cry, seen every act of faith, counted every sleepless night. And I promise you this, nothing you've done in obedience is in vain. While you wait, I am working. While you feel still, I am shifting things behind the scenes. Your name is being spoken in rooms you haven't entered yet. Opportunities are forming in places you haven't imagined. Healing is being stirred in ways you don't yet recognize. Let this be your sign. If the answer hasn't come yet, it's because I'm making it better than you dreamed. I'm not just writing a story, I'm building a testimony. So don't give up. Delay is not the end of the promise. It is the setup for glory. And when my timing unfolds, it will be beautiful, full, and right. Keep trusting, my child. I'm closer than you think. I know the weight you've been carrying. I've watched as you silently bore the invisible burdens that others couldn't see or understand. You've tried to smile through the ache, tried to stay strong when everything inside of you begged to collapse. I've seen the moments when your heart felt too heavy, when it felt like the walls were closing in, and you wondered how much longer you could hold on. But then, something shifted. It wasn't dramatic. There were no fireworks or flashing signs. But suddenly, you could breathe again. You felt lighter, not because the problem disappeared, but because the burden had been lifted. That wasn't an accident. That was me. You asked for relief, and I answered not always by changing your circumstance, but by carrying the weight that was crushing you. I stepped in, quietly but powerfully, and lifted the burden from your chest so you could stand again. You've heard people say, "Give it to God," but maybe you didn't know how. Still, in your silent surrender, I heard your soul cry out, and that was enough. I took the heaviness and wrapped it in my grace. My child, I never meant for you to carry so much alone. I am your burden bearer, your load lifter, your constant source of peace. That moment when it suddenly didn't feel so heavy anymore, that was your sign. That was me reminding you that you're not in this by yourself. I will continue to meet you in the pressure and lift what you cannot. You don't have to earn my help. You only have to allow it. When you let me in, I always bring freedom. So rest in that moment. Don't question it, receive it. And know this, the next time it gets too heavy again, I'll be right here, ready to lift it once more. I'm never far. You asked if I love you, if I truly care, if my heart still beats for you after all that you've done or failed to do. And I point you back, not to a symbol, but to a sacrifice. The cross. That old rugged cross was not just wood and nails, it was the throne where love wore flesh and bled for your redemption. It wasn't an accident or a moment of weakness, that was my choice, my mission, my answer to every doubt you'd ever have about your worth. The cross is your eternal sign. It says, I love you this much, with arms stretched wide. It says, I see your sins, and I paid for them in full. It says, I'd do it again just for you. Every scar, every drop of blood, every breath I gave up was a love letter written in pain so your soul could live in peace. You don't have to question your value ever again. The cross settled that forever. When you doubt my love, look there. When shame whispers lies, look there. When fear clouds your view, look there. You were not saved by chance, you were chosen on purpose. I saw every failure you'd make, every time you'd turn away, and I still walk to that hill with you on my mind. And I'm not just the God who died, I'm the one who rose. My love didn't end at the cross, it lives in you now. So when you need a sign of love, don't wait for grand gestures. Look at what has already been done. The cross isn't just history, it's personal. It's your proof. And let this truth live in you forever. You are deeply, completely, and eternally loved. Nothing can change that. Not even you. That is the kind of love I give. Limitless, unshakable, and signed in my own blood. I saw the moment when your spirit sank beneath the weight of unworthiness. You questioned your value, compared yourself to others, and judged yourself by your scars instead of your soul. And just when you began to believe the lie that you were not enough, words came, maybe spoken by a friend, maybe through a message, or perhaps whispered in your heart. And those words pierced the darkness. They reminded you of your worth, of your beauty, of your divine purpose. They seemed to speak directly to you, and your soul awakened. That wasn't random. That was me. I reached into your despair and pulled you back up with truth. I reminded you of who you are, because too often, the world tries to make you forget. I spoke when you couldn't speak for yourself. Those words were me restoring the identity that pain had stolen from you. You are not what you've been through. You are not your worst moment. You are not defined by rejection, abandonment, or failure. You are mine. And because you are mine, your worth is not negotiable. When you feel unworthy, I still call you beloved. When you feel small, I call you chosen. When the world says you can, I whisper you will. Every time someone speaks life into you, every time a verse or quote or unexpected encouragement reaches you at just the right moment, know that I authored it. I am relentless in reminding you of your value because this world is relentless in trying to erase it. Let those words sink in, my child. They are not flattery. They are fact. You are precious, treasured, and necessary. You matter to me. Always have. Always will. That is your sign. That is my voice. And I will keep speaking worth into you until you believe it for yourself. I saw the way you sat in silence, wondering if anyone truly sees you, truly hears the ache behind your silence. You've been surrounded by people, yet still felt lonely, as if you're shouting into an empty room. Your soul has longed for connection, authentic, caring, real. And just when you thought no one would notice, someone reached out. A text, a call, a kind message, or an unexpected visit. It felt random, maybe even surprising. But I want you to know it wasn't. I stirred their heart. I nudged their spirit and placed you on their mind. They didn't know the depth of what you were going through, but I did. I love you so much that I moved another human being to find you when you were fading into the background. That moment of connection was not a coincidence. It was divine compassion reaching through another soul to hold you. You asked me if anyone cared. I answered not just with comfort, but with community. You needed someone to speak to your humanity, to make you feel seen again. So I sent someone as my messenger, not with a sermon, but with presence. Not with perfect answers, but with real care. That friend may never know the extent of what they did for you, but I do. I used them to bring my love to life. Because I don't just work through miracles, I work through people. My kingdom is built on connection, and your heart matters too much for me to let it stay isolated. That friend was my sign to you that you're not forgotten. I will continue to raise up others to check on you, speak to you, and sit with you in the silence, because love doesn't just speak, it shows up. And I will always show up for you, even through others. I watched you toss and turn, eyes open in the dark while the world slept peacefully around you. The clock moved slowly, and your mind moved faster, racing through fears, regrets, what-ifs, and silent prayers that barely made it past your lips. You felt so alone in that room, surrounded by shadows of thought and wrapped in heaviness that no one else could understand. But let me tell you a truth that I wish you never doubted. You were never alone. I was there, not as a distant observer, but as a present comforter. I sat beside you in the silence. I listened to the things you couldn't say out loud. I counted every tear that touched your pillow. And though your eyes never saw me, your spirit felt me. That stillness that eventually soothed your soul, that was my presence blanketing your weary heart. I don't just walk with you in daylight. I guard you in the quiet agony of the night. I am near to the broken-hearted, especially when no one else is. I don't require perfect prayers or poetic words. I respond to the raw cries of your soul, the kind that don't need to be spoken for me to understand. That long night wasn't wasted. I used it to hold your emotions when you couldn't hold yourself. I used it to begin healing the places you've been hiding. I don't sleep, so you can rest. And even when sleep escapes you, I become your peace. I'm not waiting for morning to draw near. I'm there in the midnight hour, whispering, "You're safe. I've got you." Let that be your sign. If you've ever made it through a sleepless night without losing yourself completely, it's because I held you together when everything was trying to tear you apart. I'm still here. Always here. Do you remember the door that almost closed? The opportunity that slipped through your hands or seemed like it would? You told yourself it was over, that you'd missed your chance, that maybe it just wasn't meant to be. But then, somehow, some way, it came back. The door opened. The opportunity returned. What seemed lost found its way back to you. And I want you to know this. That was not luck. That was me. I intervened. I delayed time. I moved circumstances. I softened hearts. I realigned paths. I did whatever it took to make sure that what belonged to you found you. Because when I say something is yours, no one, not even you, can take it away. Even when you were doubting, hesitating, second-guessing yourself, I was still working in the background to preserve the blessing that had your name on it. You feared it was gone forever, but I say this, nothing I've marked for you will ever truly miss you. Not because you're perfect, but because I'm faithful. The opportunity may have been out of reach, but I reached further. I made a way when it seemed there was none. I opened what others close. I sent it back around not because you deserved it, but because I'm gracious, and I love to restore what you think you've lost. Let this be your sign. My plans don't fail, and neither do my promises. If it's from me, it will not leave until it fulfills what I sent it to do. Your story is not held together by your performance. It's held together by my sovereignty. To walk in confidence. That second chance. That open door. That unexpected comeback. That was your sign. I've still got you. I always did. I saw it all. I watched when life unraveled piece by piece. One thing after another. Dreams fading, relationships straining, finances tight, health wavering, hope flickering. You stood in the middle of a whirlwind, everything around you shifting and breaking, and you wondered if you'd make it through. And yet you smiled. Maybe not for long, maybe just for a moment, but you did. It was a smile that came not from your circumstances but from somewhere deeper, somewhere sacred. That smile was not fake, not forced. That smile was your soul saying, "I still believe." That smile was your spirit choosing joy, even when logic screamed despair. And I want you to know, my child, that wasn't from you alone. That was me. My joy is not circumstantial. It's supernatural. I planted it deep in your soul long before the storm arrived, so when everything else fell, my joy remained to lift you. You see, my joy is not the absence of sadness, it's the presence of me. You smiled because my spirit was still alive and working inside you. You didn't fake your strength, you found it in me. The world believes strength comes from control, from success, from everything going right. But I've shown you a better way. Real strength is smiling when you could be sobbing. Real joy is shining when you feel like shutting down. That moment when you felt something rise up inside you, allowing you to laugh or offer kindness or even just hold your head high. Let that be your sign. I was with you. I gave you my joy, which is your strength. The enemy tried to bury you, but I gave you resurrection from within. You survived what tried to silence you, and even more, you shine through it. Never underestimate that joy, my child. As proof of my victory inside of you, you have looked up many times and asked, "Why am I here? What's the reason for all of this pain? What is my purpose?" And while you were waiting for the sky to open or a voice to echo across the heavens, I was answering you with every step you took. Your purpose isn't something hidden in the future. It's been forming in you through every hardship you faced. I've been shaping you like a potter with clay, pressing, molding, refining, not to hurt you, but to form something strong, useful, and beautiful. Every struggle you endured, every tear you cried, every challenge you overcame has been part of the preparation. You think purpose is something grand and far away. But I say, it's already being lived. It's in the compassion you now carry, the wisdom you've gained, and the courage that didn't exist in you before the pain. Don't despise your journey, my child. Don't dismiss the hard seasons as detours. They were divine classrooms. You've learned to pray deeper, to trust wider, to forgive faster, and to love stronger. That is purpose. Your story, your scars, your survival, they are part of someone else's breakthrough. I'm not just calling you to have purpose. I'm calling you to be purpose. That moment you comforted someone with a pain similar to your own, that was purpose. That day you didn't quit, that was purpose. The time you stood back up after being knocked down, that was purpose being fulfilled. You asked for a sign, and I point you to your growth, your resilience, and your faith that has been purified like gold. You are not wandering without direction. I've been guiding you all along. Every moment matters. Every struggle is seed. And soon, you will see the full bloom of what I've been preparing in secret. Your purpose is not postponed, it's present. I heard your cries in the midst of your pain. I felt the ache in your chest, the heaviness that words couldn't explain, the kind of sorrow that made you question if I still saw you. The silence felt like distance. The waiting felt like abandonment. And your heart, though still reaching for me, wondered if I had turned away. But my love, I never left. Not for a second. You see, pain has a strange way of either driving people away from me, or deeper into me. And I knew your heart. I knew your faith. So I allowed the pain, not to break you, but to build you. I allowed the sorrow, not to destroy your joy, but to deepen its roots. When everything else felt unstable, I became your rock. The pain was not a punishment. It was a purifying fire, burning away what could not sustain you, and drawing you closer to my eternal presence. I was closest to you at the moment you felt most alone. I counted every tear. I understood every sigh. And while you didn't see the purpose then, I want you to know now, your faith grew in those moments. You learned to trust me without the answer, to cling to me without the solution. That kind of faith moves mountains. That kind of faith shakes the gates of hell. And that is the faith I was forming in you. You may still not have all the answers, but look at the endurance you've built. Look at the wisdom, the empathy, the spiritual authority that now rests on you. None of it but none of it was in vain. Let this be your sign. I didn't forget you in your pain. I met you there. And though I may allow seasons of suffering, I never allow them without divine purpose. I use everything. And I'm using this, too, for your good and for my glory. Do you remember that moment when a worship song played, maybe on your phone, in a church service, or as background music, and suddenly, something deep within you broke open? It wasn't just the melody, it wasn't just the words, it was me. I saw the questions in your heart, the wounds you couldn't explain, the emotions you buried so long. So I chose that moment to reach you, not with a sermon, but with a song. I wrapped truth in lyrics and soaked it in my spirit. That's why your tears fell, not from sadness alone, but from recognition. Your soul heard something that your mind had forgotten. I love you. I'm still here. I'm not finished. That song wasn't just a coincidence. It was divine timing. I used it to break through walls you had built to survive, and in those lyrics, I sang over you with freedom, healing, and joy. Music has always been a sacred language between us. Before you spoke a word, I was singing over you. Worship isn't just a ritual, it's an intimate doorway into my presence. And when you engage in it, even if all you can do is listen, I step in. I know which lyrics will bring your spirit to attention, which notes will crack the armor around your heart. That moment of tears wasn't weakness, it was cleansing. I was flushing out despair with my love, washing your soul in grace, restoring what silence and struggle had tried to steal. Let that be your sign. I am a God who sings, and I sing over you with purpose. Every time a song touches you deeper than you can explain, remember, I'm speaking. I will continue using melody and message to speak into your storms and still your soul. Never stop listening. I'm in the music, and I'm in your heart. I know how often you felt invisible, how many times you did the right thing, helped someone, stayed quiet when you could have argued, served when no one clapped, and gave when you had little left. And each time, the world kept moving, unaware of your quiet sacrifices. You began to wonder, does it even matter? Does anyone even see me? But I did. I saw you all. Every act of kindness, every seed of love, every silent prayer, every moment you showed grace even when your heart was breaking, none of it went unnoticed by me. I watched with eyes full of pride and a heart overflowing with love. You don't need applause for something to be powerful. Heaven notices what earth overlooks, and I celebrate you more than you can imagine. I'm not looking for performance. I'm looking for hearts like yours, faithful when no one's looking, kind when no one's clapping, strong when everything inside you wants to quit. You've honored me in secret, and I will reward you in due time. I don't just count your visible victories. I cherish your hidden obedience. I'm the God who saw Hagar in the wilderness, and I see you too. You were never invisible to me. I've written your name on my heart and carved your love into eternity. So let this be your sign. I have always seen you, and I delight in the quiet beauty of your faithfulness. Your story is not being overlooked. It's being authored by the one who sees in secret and rewards openly. Keep going, child. You shine brighter than you know. Do you remember when things were tight? When hope felt distant and resources were few, and you didn't know how you'd make it through? Then, seemingly out of nowhere, help came. Someone called, someone gave, someone opened a door that you didn't even knock on. And you were left in awe, wondering how and why it happened. Let me tell you, it was me. I sent help before you even asked. I dispatched provision through people you didn't expect, through kindness you didn't earn, through love you thought had passed you by. I sent angels, not with wings, but with hearts that I move in your favor. You asked for a sign that I hear your prayers. Well, they help, was my reply. Sometimes, my angels come with halos of kindness, not glowing lights. They come as friends, neighbors, strangers, or even people you thought had forgotten you. But make no mistake, I am the one who moves hearts. I am the one who inspires generosity, compassion, and divine timing. That help you received in your lowest moment. That was me answering before your voice even reached my throne. I knew what you needed, and I made sure it reached you. Let that be your sign. You are not forsaken, and I am not a distant God. I am intricately involved in your needs, and I will continue to send provision in the most unexpected ways. Keep your heart open. I have more angels ready to help you walk through what's ahead, and they will appear exactly when you need them, not a moment too soon, and never too late. There was a moment when you heard these gentle words echo within you. I'm proud of you. You didn't know where they came from. They weren't said aloud by another person. There were no crowds cheering, no trophies given. You may have been alone, reflecting on your journey, maybe even second-guessing yourself. And then, those words, they came suddenly, quietly, and yet they struck your heart with such strength. Let me tell you something important. That was me. I said that to you. I whispered it straight to your soul because I know how often you feel like you're falling short. How many times you wonder if you're enough, if you're doing this life right. The world sets standards that shift with the wind, but I see your heart. I see your obedience. I see your fight. And I'm proud of you, not because you're perfect, but because you've kept going, even when it was hard. You don't need to earn my affirmation through success. I'm proud of you for your faithfulness, for the way you choose love even when you feel empty, for the times you forgive without apology, for the quiet prayers you whisper when you think no one's listening. I'm proud of the way you keep showing up, even when no one notices. I'm proud of the way you wrestle with your doubts, but still cling to me. That moment when I'm proud of you washed over your mind was not a fleeting thought. It was divine truth. You were never meant to carry the burden of validation alone. My voice is your anchor, and I will never stop reminding you of who you are. Let that be your sign. You are not a disappointment. You are a delight to me. You are doing better than you think. I'm proud of you, today, tomorrow, and always. My beloved child, I know you've wrestled with choices, big ones that feel life-changing, quiet ones that still carry deep weight. You've prayed, questioned, worried, and even paused in fear, not wanting to misstep. You've looked for signs in your surroundings, waited for doors to open or close, asked me over and over again, "Is this the right way, Lord?" And then, unexpectedly, peace settled into your heart. The chaos quieted. The anxiety that kept you up at night started to ease. You didn't see flashing lights or hear an audible voice, but you felt it. That deep, still assurance that doesn't make sense to the world but makes perfect sense to your spirit. That peace. That was me. I give it to you not because the path is easy, but because the path is right. I heard your cry for confirmation, and I answered with my calm. I don't always confirm things in the ways you expect. Sometimes, it's not a sign you see, but a silence that no longer feels empty. Sometimes, my yes comes in the form of supernatural peace that stands in defiance of your circumstances. I gave you that peace as a promise. You're not walking into the unknown alone. I've gone before you. I've prepared the way, cleared the obstacles you don't even know exist, and placed angels along the path. So when you feel that deep, holy stillness, hold on to it. Let that be your sign that you are in step with my will. Trust me even when the road ahead doesn't look easy. I'm not asking you to see the whole picture, just to take the next step with me. You asked for confirmation, and I gave it wrapped in peace. I will continue guiding you, not through fear or pressure, but through my presence. I know how deeply that failure hurt you. You had plans, hopes, maybe even felt like your purpose was tied to that one path. And when it didn't work out, when it all came crashing down, you felt lost, defeated, maybe even ashamed. You looked around and saw others succeeding, and you asked, why not me? But what you saw as the end, I saw as the beginning. That failure was not the grave of your purpose. It was the turning point. I let that door close, that plan unravel, not to humiliate you but to heal you. You would have settled for something far less than what I created you for. I allowed what seemed like lust to become protection. I closed that chapter, not to deny you joy, but to direct you toward your real calling. You were asking me for destiny, and I answered, just not in the way you expected. I don't measure your worth by success, and I don't measure success the way the world does. What looks like failure is often divine redirection. When you fell, I caught you. When your plans died, I planted new ones. You're not off course. You're on the right road now, even if it wasn't the one you drew on your map. I use every disappointment to reshape you, every heartbreak to stretch you, every detour to reroute you into the fullness of who you are meant to be. Let that be your sign. Your failure didn't disqualify you. It refined you. It didn't cancel your calling, it clarified it. And I'm not through with your story. In fact, I'm just getting started. The path you're on now may look unfamiliar, but it's been in my plan all along. Walk forward with your head high because you're not lost. You're finally heading home to your real destiny. My beloved child, in the middle of your deepest pain, when the nights seemed unending and the days were filled with silent battles, you felt something that surprised you, closeness. Not from those around you, not from temporary relief, but from me. You felt a stillness that wrapped around your brokenness. You felt comfort not rooted in explanation, but in presence. That was not your imagination. That was not emotional coincidence. That was me. I was near, closer than breath, closer than skin. You were suffering, and instead of standing far off, I stepped even closer. I didn't watch from a distance. I entered into it with you. And while the pain didn't disappear, my presence made it bearable. My grace became your strength, my nearness became your hope, and my spirit became your anchor when your soul was drifting. You asked me, where are you? And in that moment, I responded not with words, but with warmth. My child, suffering doesn't scare me, it draws me. I am the God of the brokenhearted. I don't avoid your wounds. I dwell in them until healing comes. I didn't wait for your faith to be strong enough. I came because you were too weak to go on without me. That closeness you felt was not just comfort, it was confirmation that I'm faithful. Even when others failed you, even when you failed yourself, I remained. That is your sign. When suffering pulls at your spirit, let it also pull you deeper into my arms. I don't remove every storm, but I promise to sit beside you in the boat until the waves quiet. My child, when pain makes the world blur, remember this. I will always be the clearest thing in your chaos. I am Emmanuel, God with you. Especially in suffering. I saw the moment when the weight was too much, when the thought of going forward felt like an impossible demand. You were tired in ways sleep couldn't fix, tired in your soul, tired of trying, tired of hoping. You looked at your situation and thought, I can't do this anymore. And you almost gave up. Almost. But somehow, you didn't. You got up. You kept moving. And you wondered how. Let me tell you, child, I carried you. When your strength ran out, I poured mine in. When your willpower vanished, my spirit sustained you. The day was not powered by your perseverance alone. It was lifted by my hands holding you. You felt like giving up, but I never gave up on you. You reached the end of yourself, and that's exactly where I began to do my deepest work. I didn't need you to fake strength. I just needed you to surrender. I saw the moment you whispered, help, even if it was just in your thoughts. And I rushed in. My strength isn't reserved for the qualified. It's poured out for the desperate. You didn't just make it through that day. You were carried by the same arms that carried the cross. Let this be your sign. You are stronger than you think, not because of your own power, but because of mine working in you. I will always pick you up when you feel like quitting. I am not ashamed of your weakness. I treasure it because it gives me space to be your strength. You didn't fail that day, my child. You endured, and I will continue carrying you as long as you need. You never have to walk alone again, do you? Remember that moment when your heart was racing, your thoughts were tangled, and anxiety gripped your chest like a vice. You felt the weight of 1,000 worries, things you couldn't control, outcomes you couldn't predict. You cried, you prayed, maybe even just sat in silence, unable to speak. And then, it happened. A breeze, a soft wind brushed your skin, and it didn't change your situation, but something shifted inside you. The chaos quieted just enough for you to breathe again. That wasn't nature alone. That was me. My spirit moved in that breeze. Just like I did for Elijah, not in the fire, not in the earthquake, but in the whisper of the wind. I came to you gently. You asked for a sign, and I sent it not with a shout, but with a soft breath of my presence. I created the wind, and I use it as a messenger. When you feel a sudden calm that doesn't make sense, it's often because my spirit is passing by, ministering to you in ways words cannot. You don't need a loud miracle to know I'm near. Sometimes, I choose the wind so you know I can reach you even in the subtlest of ways. Let that breeze be your sign, your reminder that I am always moving, always present, always calming storms both around you and inside you. You don't have to figure it all out. You don't have to control everything. You only have to recognize when I'm near and trust that my peace is real. My child, I love to show up in unexpected forms to remind you. You are safe. You are seen. And you are sustained by more than air. You are sustained by my spirit. Even in the wind, I am with you. My beloved child, the world is noisy, so many voices shouting for your attention, so many paths calling you in different directions. But in the middle of all that chaos, you've heard another voice. Softer, gentler, yet full of clarity and conviction. It doesn't pressure or condemn. It gently leads. That voice you sometimes feel in your heart when you're deciding between right and wrong, when you sense what's true before you even fully understand it. That's me. That is my spirit dwelling within you, speaking not just to your mind, but to your soul. I haven't stopped speaking to you, my child. I never have. Even when you feel distant, even when your prayers are few, my voice continues to guide you toward what is right, what is life-giving, what is rooted in love. When you choose kindness over revenge, peace over chaos, truth over comfort, know this: you're hearing me. I don't only speak in visions or dreams or supernatural experiences. Sometimes, I speak in that persistent nudge in your spirit. The discomfort you feel when you step outside of my will, that's not guilt to crush you. It's my whisper to bring you back. And when you feel a deep peace about doing what's good and just, even if it's hard, that's my affirmation. You ask for a sign that I'm still guiding you. Well, that voice you hear within, that's me. My sheep know my voice, and you have recognized it, even when you weren't sure. Let this be your confirmation. I will continue to speak to you in every season of your life. Don't ignore that whisper. Don't doubt your ability to hear me. Stay sensitive, stay surrendered, and know that my voice isn't fading, it's leading. And I will never stop speaking truth to your heart. My beloved child, I saw how your heart rose with hope for that opportunity, the one you thought would finally be the answer. You prayed over it, prepared for it, and placed your expectations into it. And then, when it didn't happen, your heart sank. You felt disappointed, maybe even confused. Was this the blessing I asked for? You wondered. But hear me now, just because something looks perfect on the outside doesn't mean it's aligned with your calling. I didn't let that job work out. Not because I'm withholding good things from you, but because I'm protecting you from what you couldn't yet see. I know the environment, the people, the pressures. I know what would have slowly drained your soul and stifled your joy. The door didn't close to punish you. It closed to position you for something far greater. Something higher, holier, and healthier than what you imagined. You think I ignored your request, but I was actually answering it in the most loving way possible. You asked for peace, for growth, for purpose, and this wasn't the path that would have led you there. I don't want you to settle for status or salary when I've designed you for impact and fulfillment. What's coming won't just pay your bills, it will feed your spirit. You won't just work a job, you'll walk in a calling. Let this be your sign. I'm not just interested in what you do, I care deeply about who you're becoming through it. That rejection was not the end, it was redirection. I'm not done. It will burn. It rest to. Who knows? When the right opportunity opens, you'll see how perfectly it fits, not just your skills, but your soul. Because when I give completely, with joy, with peace, and with purpose that will last. There's something inside you that just won't fade. A dream, a desire, a calling that's been burning quietly in the background of your heart. Even when life pulled you away from it, even when others told you it was impossible, even when fear whispered, "You're not enough," it stayed. The passion hasn't left you because I placed it there. It's not a random interest. It's not a meaningless hope. It's purpose, my purpose in you, igniting in your spirit like a holy fire. I gave it to you before you even knew how to name it. And while it may not have made sense to others, it always made sense to me. I gave you a heart that feels deeply, sees differently, and dreams fearlessly. Not to torment you, but to invite you into something bigger than yourself. That fire isn't meant to consume you. It's meant to lead you. The passion you feel is tied to your purpose. Don't run from it. Don't silence it just because others don't understand. If you water it with faith and move forward with me, I will open doors no man can shut. A thing you love doing, that burden you carry for a specific need or group of people, that's not random. That's your assignment. I gave you that vision to partner with me in something eternal. Let this be your sign. That fire in your belly is not a distraction. It's divine. Fan it into flame. Follow it with wisdom. Steward it with prayer. And trust that I will use it to shape lives, yours included. Your passion with Blandon on purpose and for purpose. Don't let it die. I'm in it. I'm behind it. And I'm ready to bring it to life in ways you never dreamed possible. I've seen your silent tears, the weight you carry behind that smile, the way you wonder if anyone truly notices what you're going through. You've questioned not just people's loyalty, but even mine. You whispered, "Lord, do you still care? Are you still with me?" And then, at just the right moment, someone looked you in the eyes or sent a message or sat next to you and said, "I'm here for you." You may have brushed it off as kindness or coincidence, but child, that was me. I moved their heart. I stirred their compassion. I placed your name in their thoughts so they would find you in your moment of need. I have many ways to show you I care, but one of the most beautiful is through others. I used their presence to prove my presence. I spoke through their voice to whisper my love directly to your soul. I care more deeply than you realize. When you're hurting, I don't just watch, I act. Sometimes through miracles, sometimes through moments. When someone shows up at your lowest point and reminds you that you are not alone, that's not just human kindness, it's divine intervention. I am the God who sends help before you ask. I am the shepherd who leaves the 99 to comfort the one. Let that moment be your sign. You are seen, you are loved, and you are never forgotten. The words "I'm here for you" are not just from their mouth, they were from my heart. I will keep using people, creation, and even unexpected encounters to remind you that I care. You are never too far, too broken, or too silent for me to reach. I am here for you, and I will always be here for every tear, every sigh, every step forward, and every fall. Always. I know how long you carried that wound, how deeply that situation hurt you. The words that were never taken back, the silence that followed betrayal, the broken connection that made you feel unseen and unloved. You never expected an apology. Maybe you gave up hope for one. You tried to move forward, but the scar still whispered, you weren't worth the kindness. And then, it happened, an apology, perhaps small, perhaps late, but it came. And it wasn't just their voice you heard, it was mine. That apology was more than just someone making peace. It was me restoring your soul. I was working in their heart, softening them, awakening their conscience. And I was preparing your heart too, so you'd be ready to receive it, not with pride, but with peace. It wasn't just about them changing, it was about you healing. I care about your healing more than you know. I'm not just interested in moving you past pain. I want to walk with you through it. And sometimes, I use the most unexpected people and moments to open the door to restoration. That apology was part of my divine repair process. It wasn't just about righting a wrong. It was about showing you that I hear your cries. I see your wounds, and I work in the unseen places to bring justice and mercy in perfect balance. Let this be your sign. I am restoring what was broken. And whether more apologies come or not, know this, your value has never depended on someone else recognizing your worth. I affirmed it at the cross. And now, I'm bringing you into a season of healing where your past no longer defines your peace. You are being made whole again. And I will finish what I started. My beloved child, you remember the moment. You were staring down a battle that felt impossible. Fear gripped you. Doubt crept in. You didn't feel equipped, strong, or even ready. Everything inside you screamed that you would fail, that you couldn't make it through, that the storm would swallow you whole. But still you fought. You prayed. You wept. And somehow you won. You didn't just survive. You overcame. And now that the dust has settled, you wonder how you made it. Let me tell you, that was me. I was the one giving you strength when your knees were trembling. I was the one silencing the voice of defeat with the roar of victory in your spirit. The battle was never yours alone. It was mine. I fought through you, for you, and with you. And every ounce of strength you felt came from the power of my name working through your weakness. Victory doesn't always feel like a shout. Sometimes, it feels like a breath. Steady, calm, enduring. You didn't win by being the strongest. You won by trusting me when you had nothing left. That was your sign. The enemy tried to convince you that you'd break, but I proved that you're unbreakable when you're held in my hand. And this victory wasn't just about that one moment, it was about the testimony being written through your life. You will look back and remember, what was supposed to end you became the stage for my glory to rise in you. Let that win remind you, my child, every battle you face, I am already ahead of it. I have never lost, and I never will. You are not fighting for victory, you're fighting from victory. Because I have already overcome the world. And through me, so will your life moves fast. Your days are filled with noise, distractions, decisions, and uncertainty. Often, you feel like you're just trying to keep up, desperately seeking answers, praying for direction, and asking me to show you the way. And then, out of nowhere, it happened. In a moment that wasn't loud or dramatic, everything just clicked. Your thoughts aligned. Your spirit stilled. The fog cleared. What once confused you suddenly made sense. That clarity you felt didn't come from your own strength or understanding. It came from me. I gave you a moment of divine insight. A moment where heaven touched earth, where I let you see what I see. Not everything, but just enough to know where to step next. That stillness wasn't empty, it was filled with my wisdom. I don't only speak through signs and wonders. Sometimes I speak clearest through quiet. When your heart is overwhelmed, I don't add to the noise. I offer peace. I don't leave you in confusion. I bring order to chaos. When you finally pause long enough to hear, I respond. That moment of divine understanding wasn't just a breakthrough. It was confirmation. It was me showing you, yes, this is the way. Let that be your sign. When you don't know what to do, come to me, not in panic, but in surrender. I will never leave you without direction. I won't always give you the whole map, but I'll always give you the next step. My spirit will guide you into all truth, and when the timing is right, I'll reveal what was hidden. Don't chase clarity, chase me, and clarity will find you. That moment of understanding wasn't rare, it was a preview of how I will continue to lead you forward. My beloved child, I watched as you carried the burden, quietly, dutifully, believing you had no choice but to keep pressing forward. You were weighed down by responsibilities, emotions, expectations, and fears. On the outside, it seemed manageable, but inside, your spirit was bending beneath the weight. You didn't always know how close you were to breaking. But I did. I saw it long before you even realized how tired you were. And in that moment when you cried out, even if it was just a whisper of desperation, I moved. I came near not with thunder but with tenderness. And while your circumstance didn't instantly change, something inside you did. The load felt a little lighter. The pressure eased. You found just enough strength to breathe again. That wasn't your doing, that was my intervention. I am the God who carries what you cannot. I said, come to me, all who are weary, and I will give you rest, not because I pity you but because I love you. I don't expect you to be strong all the time. I don't want you to perform. I want you to rest in me. And sometimes, I lift burdens quietly. You may not see the full weight I remove, but you feel the freedom that follows. Let this be your sign. When the heaviness begins to lift, when the anxiety loosens its grip, when the tears dry quicker than expected, that is me, lightening your load in ways even you can't measure. You don't need to carry it all, my child. I am strong enough for the both of us. Trust me to do the heavy lifting. I already bore the heaviest burden on the cross, and I won't let you collapse beneath yours. You've looked for miracles in thunder and lightning, in sudden changes and radical breakthroughs. But sometimes, the greatest miracle I perform isn't in the world around you. It's in your heart. Do you remember the trial you walked through? The pain that had every reason to harden you, to make you bitter, cold, angry, or numb. Yet, through it all, your heart stayed soft. You still loved. You still hoped. You still trusted, even if just barely. That was a miracle. You didn't just get through that trial, you kept your heart alive in the midst of it. The world didn't win. Fear didn't win. I did. I kept your heart from turning to stone. I shielded your tenderness while everything tried to break it. You asked for a miracle, and I gave you one that began in the deepest part of you. A soft heart in a hard world is nothing short of divine. The enemy's goal was to steal your compassion, your joy, your empathy. But I protected it. I preserved it. That is what strength looks like in my kingdom, not cold resilience, but holy vulnerability. Let this be your sign. When others expected you to grow bitter, you grew kinder. When pain tried to harden you, you leaned into love. When life gave you reasons to close off, you kept reaching out. That is evidence that I have been at work in you. I didn't just walk beside you. I transformed you from the inside out. My grace guarded your soul so that even your scars would still shine with mercy. Never underestimate that kind of miracle. The world may not celebrate it, but heaven does. And I do. Your soft heart is proof that I am still in the business of making all things new, including you. Amen.